This week we're talking about formatting your messages so that they can look the way that you want them to look. So you'll be able to emphasize certain parts, make it more clear, everything that formatting does. Okay, so let me hop over to my pipeline screen here. Let's start by expanding a message. This is where you've got the ability to format your messages to add that extra detail. Okay, so let me start by just using a template that I've got that's got some content in it. So I'm going to hold down on my template here, and then instead of actually just going to find it because I have a ton of templates, I'm just going to start typing. So just recommending that part first. When you click on here, instead of just scrolling down to find the one that you want, just click on it and then start typing, and it'll reduce that selection for you, saving you a ton of time if you've got a lot of templates. So anyway, I'm looking for this one here, the unformatted one, just so that you can see kind of what something could look like before I start. I'm going to expand this here so I can see the whole thing. Right, so this is a decent message. It's numbered, it's got some capitalization to try and add some emphasis, but I could do a little more to this if I wanted to make things stand out better and format it a little better. So again, pretty decent to start, but I want this, instead of just being text numbers, I want it to actually be, let's say, bullets, or I could even do numbers that get indented properly as numbers. But I'm going to go ahead and change these to bullets. Right here, this little link, formatting tips, if you click that, that will open up our help page that shows you all the different formatting options that you've got here. Okay, so like I mentioned, this has got a list of numbers. So I could do what they call an ordered list or a numbered list by using this format here. I can do a bulleted list or an unordered list by doing that there. So I'm going to do that with that particular message. I can also make headers, 3 different levels of headers. Whenever I type a URL or a link, it will properly format it automatically. I can bold, obviously. I can italicize. And one that's not on here actually is I can bold and italicize. Italicizing is a single asterisk or underscore. Bolding is 2 asterisks or underscores. And bolding and italicizing is actually 3, right? So if I do 3 asterisks, it'll bold and italicize. And I'll show you that in a moment. So let me hop back over to Pipeline. So like I said, I'm going to make these an unordered list so I can use bullets. And also, you know, I think I'd rather have headers, right, for these do nots. So I'll sort of separate these into sections. So I'll have a do section and a don't section, right? This will be the things that you do turn in your paperwork. Do not do all of these things, right? So let me go ahead and open that template, right? And it's the one that I've got that is formatted. So you see here, I added 2 headers, do and do not. Right, and I've used that format that's over here for headers, right? So I want the header 2, which has 2 hashtags or pound signs before them, right? So I got my do's and my don'ts. I have added a URL in here so we can see how that gets formatted. I've bolded. See here, I've used my 2 asterisks as it indicates here for bolding, 2 asterisks. For bolding the close date to make that stand out. And I want to emphasize on time a lot. So I'm actually going to use 3 asterisks and make that bold and italics or italicized. Okay. So let's take a look at what that looks like. I'm going to actually gloss over the preview because there's a tiny bit of a bug there. Oop, and add that note and see what that looks like here. Okay. So here you can see that my date is bolded. I've got some headers here, a do and a do not. I've got my on time is bold and italicized. My link works properly here. And again, I've got bullets, nice bullets that indent properly when there's a wrap. Okay, so nice formatting. And you can even see, I've got over here what it looks like within the email. See how much cleaner that is, even when they're reading the email. Once you've got that nice indentation of the bullets, the bolding in the appropriate places, etc. And again, the link. Okay. So pretty straightforward once you see these options for how you set them up and utilizing them over here. That was me creating a message right there on the fly, but I can of course save that as a reusable template, and that way all of that formatting and any message tags that I use as well, just like that one had message tags in it, right? Like the buyer name and the close date, etc. All of that gets saved in the template. Okay, so makes it a nice, cleanly formatted message template. All right. So, and that's really basically it for how to set up that formatting in the message. A few little extra tidbits of information. One is that I mentioned that there's a tiny bug in the preview, so it doesn't quite render properly. But just an FYI, in our, not this release that's coming up right now, but the release after that, you're going to have the ability to preview a message no matter whether you have message tags in it or not. Right now, you can only preview messages that have message tags in them. But going forward, you'd be able to preview any message. That way, if you've got any formatting or just really want to see it before it goes out, you'll have that ability. Okay, so that is a little heads up there. Also coming will be the ability to have automatically formatted, just like you did in the message here, for URL. URLs that are contained in tasks will also render properly. That way, if you're referring somebody to a particular link or maybe a document that's somewhere, you can actually specify that link within the task and they'll be able to click through to it easily instead of having to just describe. Okay, so that's something that's coming up. And the last two things I wanted to mention, just because we're talking about, formatting and visually making something more impactful, is just to make sure that you're aware of doc labels, which you can go check out that on our help site if you're not familiar with those. Using doc labels to visually show or add impact to certain documents, right? If something's missing initials, or you can categorize them as such. Need review, disclosures, whatever you want to name your labels here. You can name all of these in custom fashion. Okay, so just again, a visual impact thing that I wanted to mention. And same deal for at mentions, right? Whenever you at mention somebody to highlight a task, right? Right here I'm at mentioned in two different ways, as my role and my name, but it highlights that task for me. You can similarly highlight tasks for agents and any type of user in your account by at mentioning them. So if you're interested in those, again, they visually flag things for people, make them more impactful. So feel free to check out either the Pipeline Pro webinar where we outline those or just the article that specifies those. They're both at our help site at help.paperlesspipeline.com. Okay, that's all I've got for today for formatting your messages.